Oh, the city of Umbar, a land of trade and wealth, but today it will only be filled with blood and war. Hey, how's it going, guys? My name is Jackie Fish, and welcome back to another glorious Rise of Mordor online battle. Today we are diving right back in with the epic siege of Umbar. I mean, this is just one of the most beautiful maps that we have ever seen on Rise of Mordor. The city itself is huge, but it also provides us some epic gameplay, and yeah, it just looks absolutely spectacular, with a harbour being vast and strong and giving some good opportunities for the attackers to come in and actually cause some issues out here. We'll see what we deal with that. This battle was played on Pope John Paul's Discord server, once again, just like the last battle, so a massive shout out to him for inviting me to come and play along with some of the guys on his Discord. I really did enjoy it, and hopefully we'll do some more in the future. Definitely go check out his YouTube channel down below in the description. He plays a ton of these awesome scenario battles and basically covers all Total War, so definitely recommend checking out his channel. But in today's battle we have the forces of the Easterlings, Harad, and also Mordor coming together. You can see some of all the clan guards right here coming together to defend the great city of Umbar, and it's going to be a hard one for sure, because again, we are kind of outmatched with the factions that we've picked. We're up against the elves, Darmroth. I think there's a couple Darmroth players, and we also have Gondor as well. So yeah, it's going to be a hard fight for sure, but I'm sure it's something that we will try our best to overcome. We are obviously the defenders, so we do have the defense of the walls to protect us, and hopefully that will go a long way. So you can see our defenses are scattered throughout the settlement. I also love the way that the inner wall, this is kind of like a smaller inner wall here, really adds a lot of cool stuff to the battle itself. But as you can see, we actually kind of kicked off this battle with a little sally out. We noticed that the elven player left two units of swordsmen out on this kind of secluded beach, so we thought we'd go ahead and take advantage of that and sally out some of their forces, because they would not have been able to see our defense inside the settlement. So by unsupporting this attack, we're able to quickly kind of just surround this unit and get some cavalry in to hit them hard, and yeah, basically just sacrifice 2 units of their heavy shock infantry, which is very good. If we take a look at the other side of the battle as well, what the attackers are bringing elsewhere, we have Darmroth with the amazing dismounted Knights of Immoral. Amazing, those look spectacular. The helmet detail is awesome. Then we also have obviously archers on the front line, just some marksmen, a whole range of archers actually. I mean, obviously, again, there is 4 of them on this battlefield going up against the 3 of us defending, so they're going to definitely have the numbers and the quality, but we obviously have the walls and the hope of evil to bring us forward. We also have some Gondorian sword infantry here as we scattered across over to the far ranks of the elves, so again, going to be scattered with some noblemen, some of the shipwright nobles. We have some Citadel Guard moving off into position in the distance. So no lack of quality, definitely, for the attackers indeed, and they're already starting to make footwall onto the walls themselves and actually get down into a pretty good position here, ready to assault the walls. We decided, because there is only 3 of us, that it probably wouldn't be a good idea to actually defend these walls. So we decided just to pull back, let the enemy in a little bit more, and then kind of hit them in these streets, kind of hit them in the choke points set out throughout the settlement, and use our archers to really hammer them. I've got a very nice position up here on this wall. I can supply this unit of archers with this supply barrel and just allow it to volley in to the death trap along this wall very effectively. And the only breach point is right here. So as long as I defend this kind of post right here, I'll be in very good stead. As you can see, my cavalry's done a great job at just kind of taking down the shock infantry, just able to really focus it down very effectively, allowing the archers to pick it away and get it off the siege towers. So you can see a nice little move right there, what we did, and yeah, it was pretty effective. I'm going to bring my cavalry back to the walls. The infantry are going to get back on the towers, but again, I'm going to get them off of that, and we're just going to kind of rinse and repeat here, trying our best just to deal with this cavalry as quickly as possible. Also, one of the amazing things from this unit of cavalry, the Servant of the Eyes, is they actually have a war cry ability, which you can use. So just a very potent shock cavalry unit that can come into the rear of a unit and then pop its morale debuff and just really go to town. And as you can see, these 2 units are going to be routing momentarily. So a nice little win for us. Obviously, we are up against it in a 4v3. But, you know, that's going to be a nice little win for us, taking out 2 units from the Elven player. Obviously, very deadly indeed, so happy with that. One of the amazing things that I can start to do as well is I can get my archers, my Uruk archers, to start firing off onto this position and start taking them down as the enemy do come off. And obviously I'm going to be getting some pretty good volleys off because I'm going to be shooting them literally directly into the side of their formation. So it's going to be some pretty deadly stuff. Part of the wall does get destroyed though. These walls are pretty depleted, so that's why I brought my men back, not allowing them to take me on and destroy me. One of the things as well that could have been a bit more useful, actually it says right here that this tower is indestructible. But it does end up getting destroyed at some point in the battle, so I wonder why that is. But I guess because the flag got captured, that's kind of a little bit weird. We also have a really nice defense as well set up throughout the battlefield. We've got spikes and caltrops scattered throughout the battlefield, and then we've also got some more here as well. They actually told me that was a really good idea to put stones just before the choke point, because these break up the enemy's charge, which obviously makes a lot of sense, and yeah, it's something I definitely tried to employ. We do have fighting on the far right hand side though. We have some of the warriors of Lasanak throwing in against the Clan's Guard. I was able to get a couple volleys from my Uruk archers along the settlement onto these guys before they really got committed into the battle. So it's going to kind of weaken them down and give the Clan's Guard a bit of a boost. They are losing decisively in this. And then I do also throw up some of my Orc Pillagers, sorry, not half-orc axes, into the battle. And the Orc Pillagers are like one of the most cost-effective units in the entire game. If they can get stuck in, they do a great job. We also actually have some Southern Archers focusing heavy fire down onto these Nordoran swords, able to really take off a handful of casualties from them before they can even get stuck in, which is extremely nice. Great arcing shots there from the bowmen. Also, maybe it would have been a great idea to set up the archers here, maybe? I don't know if they have, they probably don't really have a very good potential to shoot off here, but yeah, it would have been a bad idea to maybe, if they did have the range, maybe if we had like elven archers who have insane range, could have been a great idea to have some archers here just firing shots down range and basically punishing this entire section. But as you can see, the enemy are bringing more men in. Doamroth have brought in the majority of their force now. They also lost a ton. I think this tower got captured, and they actually ended up losing like half these units of swords. Obviously, they were being hit by archer fire, but as you can see, the dumbass Attila, I'm going to destroy all your men if the tower gets captured type thing going down. And here you go. My stones are going to be slowing them up somewhat. I'm bringing my spears up. I'm going to form them in shield wall. I still want to be very careful not to go by this wall, because as you can see, the wall itself is destroyed down to 99%. So a little feather touching it will destroy the wall. So I'm trying to keep my line a little bit further away so I don't lose a large amount of the unit. And we are just going to be engaging them. Unfortunately, I didn't get completely on top of this breach, so he's going to be fighting downhill at me, which is going to be kind of effective. So that was a bit of my mistake. Over on this other side as well, I have set up a pretty nice crossfire. We have the Morgul Legion right here, blocking this choke point, and then I have archers shooting down from the wall, and I believe also my archers from this side as well also volleying down here. So basically this section of the position is a complete death trap, because my Uruk archers just have a perfect view right there, able to really just kind of choke point the enemy in and just bring them down. So very effective stuff. And the thing is as well, this unit of archers can completely get his replenishment from these supply barrels as well. So very nice. And I love the positioning of these barrels, and I also love the idea of having these barrels spread out throughout the settlement. I'd love to see more maps, kind of, you know, siege maps, add in these barrels like in the inner layer, like have a supply barrel like back here that you have to actually go back and get, you know. It makes sense that there would be, you know, more arrows for the defenders in the siege to go and grab. And I think I'd also give the defenders a bit of a much needed advantage, because in a lot of battles, you know, there's the Apollo meme of defenders never win. And I think that would be a nice little like bonus for them to be able to have more ammunition, because again, they don't supply like a ton of ammunition to archers. They only give them a roughly, I think, a third or a quarter back. So it's still something very nice, and I would never say it's not strong. But it would be great to have a few more supply barrels being able to place in the city centre or something. So then you still have to take that time to run all the way back, and on these larger maps that does take time. But giving you the ability to do so, I think would be great. And over on this other side, the Elven Archers have now got the ability just to fire off the wall. And I mean, Elven Archers on the wall is going to be absolutely brutal. The ability just to volley off shot after shot is going to be devastating. And they're obviously going to be focusing very much down the big clump of positioning right here, really hitting into the sides of our infantry, and yeah, obviously killing our own archers as well. There's not really much we can do about it whatsoever. More infantry having to be committed here, but we're actually able to do a pretty good job of dealing with this section of the battlefield. It seems like we have this very much under control. I also throw in my orc pillagers as well, who managed to rack up 120 kills. Not bad whatsoever. So pretty good stuff as well. But yeah, it's very deadly. You can already see the Elven Archer range here, basically covering this entire section of the battlefield as more archers are being brought inside the settlement as well. My cavalry did come over just basically try and scare off any of this cavalry that's going to try and pull through this gap. And I think that we do actually end up scaring them off, but maybe they do commit to it in the end. Oh yeah, as well as this as well, I completely forgot to turn off my artillery on my on my unit right here. Completely forgot to turn them off fire at will. Completely forgot that I had them whatsoever. So yeah, complete waste of this artillery. It could have been extremely useful, and instead they're going to be shooting at God knows what. Over on the far left-hand side, the forces of Doamroth did break another breach point in, and they're going to be charging down the breach itself. And my spearmen, who are, you know, combat evenly trading. Obviously, I'm not getting many kills. My unit on the far left have actually only racked up 1 kill, which is a real shame. But still able to, you know, at least hold the enemy in place. I also brought another unit of archers up on this wall. It was a little bit glitchy, but I eventually do get them up here. And again, all my archers are going to be heavily focused on killing the enemy archers on this wall as well. Because the nice thing is, I'm fighting from like the front of the wall, so I have the protection of all this stone, whereas our opponents don't. They're kind of fighting kind of with no protection whatsoever, so they're a bit more vulnerable to this missile fire, and a lot of my arrows are going to be finding their marks, and I'm going to be able to whittle down a decent amount of the enemy missiles pretty effectively. I've also now managed to deal with this unit right here, enough missile fire coming in clutch, able to bring them down. And yeah, right now my Uruk Archer is doing a great job. This unit of Uruk Archer is up to 183 kills. Very cost efficient. Probably already paid for itself at this point. And very soon you're going to be able to see me making a bit of a play here. I think this was a pretty good play. I actually bring a unit of infantry all the way around and actually push it up on this wall. Because all I see is the enemy having just archers on this wall. So I try and take that to my advantage and just try and scare off the walls. Obviously, they'll bring more infantry up on the walls when they see me doing it, but it was still a very good play, and I think I'm very proud of that move at least. The infantry is now pouring in. We have more dudes turning up. A lot of my Uruk Archers are now moving into position, getting ready to repel the oncoming assault that is soon to be arriving. The spears are put down. Luckily, again, these stones will hopefully break up a decent amount of the charge. There we go. The lines do clash. Sorry, wrong side again. God, I hate Attila's lighting so much, man. Why can't it just be like this the entire time? The directional lighting is just so disgusting. Maybe I just need to turn off shadows, though. Maybe that'll be my saving grace at some point. Over on the far right-hand side, the fighting is brutal still. I've got some archers moving in just to help out. And yeah, our positions are starting to drop. We do have some of the awesome axe bearers. Again, looking absolutely spectacular. Axe on axe right there. Again, very nice. Heavily armored unit. Elite axes going up against the Gondorians. More artillery coming in. Yeah, like imagine if I had my artillery still left remaining, just firing in on this big blob. But as you can see, the enemy are really starting to break through here, able just to pull through their units and yeah, start putting a lot of pressure on this inner keep area. Really whenever they want. Luckily our archers and the artillery do scare them off, and the elves are actually running out of ammunition, which is pretty surprising. I would have assumed they would have had a lot more ammunition, but I guess they have been firing pretty frequently, but they haven't really racked up many kills. This unit of Elven Archers only on 44, which is not great, honestly. 75 on that one, 100 on that one, so not awful, but not amazing whatsoever. And this far right-hand side is basically going to be breaking. More infantry is on its way, but again, it's only Loco-Rim Macemen, so nothing spectacular, and our position might be overrun. Honestly, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, though, because we do have a nice little crossfire position right here that can, like, shoot in as the enemy march down these streets, but it does open up our rear position right here, and the enemy can go around this entire position here if they want to. You can go all the way around here. It's a long journey, but it's a fruitful one if you can get in and then actually get into our final city center defensive position right here. So yeah, it's a long journey, but they definitely can utilize that, and there's no reason really for them not to do that. I also bring over some more of my servants of the Eye Cavalry, just to kind of get over here as quickly as possible to try and help out and stem the bleeding here as best as I can. The enemy are pushing very, very fierce against my front line, but the Uruk Spearmen are holding. They're doing a very good job, honestly, and I cannot fault them for this whatsoever. You know, they are holding admirably and doing a very good job at that. A lot of my archers as well are able to really start picking away at the enemy missiles on that wall, and obviously reducing that missile line is super important. It's just unfortunate that my Uruks haven't got many more kills. They're only on 9 kills. They've been fighting for a long time against depleted units. Like, again, it is Spearmen, but I'd still hope they get a few more kills than what they have, unfortunately. And yeah, look at that. The towers have been destroyed. I guess it was they took this capture point, even though I have more units here. It doesn't really make any sense. And as you can see, a lot of their archers have now mounted the walls. And I'm kind of happy trading off here. I'm losing some missiles here from this unit of archers. However, for the most part, they're firing a lot of ammunition into me, so I'm fine with that. Also, these archers as well coming in, able to resupply constantly. I think they can resupply 3 times. They're over 236 kills now on just one unit of plain Uruk archers. More than happy for that to be a thing, and they're able to get a bunch more kills. I'm also, as you can see, bringing over a unit of infantry here as well. This is what I was talking about, trying to get this unit involved in the combat and just basically sweep these walls, slow up the enemy as much as we can. We're going to be taking some missile fire ourselves, but totally worth it. If I can get some infantry along this wall, then that is absolutely huge. I think my opponent will be bringing some swordsmen onto the wall at some point in the future to help out here. Cavalry also charging in against my infantry. I guess I wasn't in shield wall, but I was still pretty thick, so able to repel the Seaward Spear cavalry fairly nicely, and able to throw in more infantry as well to silence that. We also have a pretty heavy cavalry engagement here as well. My cavalry engaging against the Northern Spear cav. But again, the enemy just have far too many infantry for us to handle this far right-hand side. And we are going to have to fall back momentarily. Just kind of defend this for a little bit longer. The Bane of the Steppe also engaging some Noldoran swords there. But as you can see, the enemy, we just don't have enough infantry scattered on this right-hand side. The nice thing is, though, we have basically dealt with a large amount of the Elven archers. But we still have so many more. 6 units of archers is just kind of crazy. And yeah, as with defenders, it's going to be hard, especially in a 4v5 as well. Maybe we should have limited it a little bit, but there you go. Look at that. My swordsmen already doing work here, killing out some of the enemy archers right there, able to rout them, and then able to push in. And again, look at all these archers. And then there's 2 units of archers out there. And then there's, I mean, again, they do have an entire extra player, so they were able to bring more archers than we were able to really handle with. But this was a nice play, able to cut down a handful of these infantrymen. Really try and get down there, or I guess archers, even not infantry. And really start to push them off. Also, look how cool that trebuchet looks as well. Very cool indeed, besides the awful pixels right there. So, doing a pretty good job at scaring off these archers, and able also to push them off, allowing my infantry to do a little bit more damage. I've committed a lot more of my Uruk infantry over on this right-hand side, the actual sword variant. And I'm also getting a lot of my missile fire focused in on this point as well. I have 2 units of fresh archers. Just really trying to minimize this cavalry. And we also obviously have a unit of the southern archers as well. Or southern archers. Really able to rack up a decent amount of kills on the knights and also the dismounted swords as well. Very scary stuff. I mean, Darmarov is just such a powerful faction. They really, really are. Unfortunately, though, some cavalry has managed to break its way through and got onto some of the southern archers. And there's a lot of missile fire hitting our Locairian Macemen in the back as well. Over on this position, the Gondorian archers able to find their mark. Cavalry just running amok. Infantry and elves alike really charging in here. The Siege of Umbar. Yeah, that missile fire is definitely going to come back to bite us. It really, really is. As another volley comes flying in. We do have some more of the heavier infantry though being brought up from Harad. Again, one of the Serpent Swordsmen. Looking very, very nice indeed. Colourful in their shields. And it's always nice seeing new units for Harad. I mean, I would love to obviously see a Muma kill or 2. It would be very juicy. Maybe we'll get through Trolls first. Trolls come out, awesome. Then it's Muma kill. that'd be spectacular. I mean, Trolls for Mordor would just kind of topple off a faction. It really would make it absolutely spectacular. And again, I've managed to round another unit up on this wall, still chasing down more of the marksmen. Unfortunately, though, we do have some Heaven Guard being committed to this, and yeah, that's pretty scary. Dormroth with a great sword unit, able just to get stuck in and do some serious damage. Not really going to be able to do much against that. I still have some covering fire, though, from the wall over in the far north, but again, it's not going to be looking good for my unit of Uruk swords against that. And they have plenty more men tied up as well. I did bring over what remains of my unit of the Swords of Serpent. And they're able to get a nice little charge off here. I also, again, popped that Warcry ability I talked about earlier down. Just trying to cause a bit of a mass rout on these weaker units. And it was like successful, able to break these guys. I think they do end up coming back, but still able to, you know, kind of break and kind of give my infantry a little bit of a respite. Try and do the same over here as well. Forced Darmroth to basically have to commit more men to this fight. I also bring over a unit of extra Uruk Throng and also Morgul Legion as well. Considering I've kind of cleared off this position of the wall, I thought a lot safer actually bringing up more of my infantry here, because the Morgul Legion are obviously a main focus point for Archer Fire. They're halberds, so you want all their polearms, so we want to obviously try and kill them as quickly as possible. But yeah, having that cavalry come in with that debuff is super strong. My archers are out of ammunition now on the far left, and this unit is going to be dying soon. And unfortunately, they can't get down off this hill, because if they do, well, they can't because of the tower's been destroyed, which is really stupid for some reason. Again, another Tiller design thing doesn't really make sense. Well, I guess it makes sense, but still, gameplay-wise, it's kind of stupid. So unable to get down that wall. Maybe it'd be a nice little addition to have like a exit point here as well. But again, if that gets destroyed as well, it kind of, yeah, it gets a bit stupid, I guess. So right now, if we take a look at the overall battlefield, you can see that we have been pushed back. The enemy are capturing this point right here, and I think they're preparing to send a couple units around the side here to go in and you know, threaten our city center here, and that's why we're having to commit a unit of infantry right there. But yeah, you know, for the most part, the outer walls obviously we didn't defend, but the inner layer is starting to be overrun, and we're just kind of running out of infantry to really hold the enemy back. But we are making them pay for every single inch they take. We still have plenty of cavalry left, which can be super effective in a siege battle. If we can clear out any of these lanes, we can then utilize our cavalry to really come in and yeah, start harassing them. And you can see I am slowly breaking a handful of units here, but there's still so many archers left, which are now going to be brought in. Luckily, I was able to break another unit here, but again, we do have 2 units of fresh Heaven Guard making their way over to this battle. Not something I'm particularly looking forward to, honestly. Not looking forward to it whatsoever, but hopefully they can get stuck in. Why is it so much brighter? Either way. So yeah, that's going to be pretty scary considering I don't really have a lot here. The enemy is also bringing up a lot of their archers as well, just to basically cover this down. And again, I don't really have an answer to it. I'm bringing over my archers here just to try and help out in this engagement. I thought trying to get them over here could give me a good opportunity to maybe volley down here or even clear out some of the walls. Wouldn't be a bad idea, but in the end it was just very hard to bring them down. So I think what we decided to do was just completely give up this section. Seeing the Heaven Guard being brought up, it was like, what the hell can we do? So we decided to kind of fall back our position, set up a defensive line right here, and set up a defensive line here, and just use our archers to basically kind of crossfire into this position here and just kind of hit them in the back. Like my archers will hit whatever engages this line, and then our allies' archers will also hit whatever kind of engages in this line. So I think it was a pretty good strategy for our missiles. We just didn't have really the infantry to make it completely work. And we did have a lot of soldiers to start off with as well, playing, you know, kind of 2 horde factions in Harad and the forces of Mordor. Eastlings kind of being our quality. But still, you know, numbers are going to be dwindling just down to the sheer pressure of the aggressors coming in and doing a lot of damage. However, we are set up quite nicely, trying to kind of protect my Morgul Legion as best as I can there by hiding it against the buildings. The archers are going to come in now and really start to rack up some kills, and I also have 2 units of archers which I'm going to be bringing over to really reinforce. However, some cavalry has made its way in. Archers getting some really nice shots off from that cavalry, and a good charge there. Oh, a brutal charge there from the Northern Cavalry. We also have some of the Warlords of Rune here as well with the awesome glaives. An amazing unit with goat horns on them as well. Fighting in against the Gondorians. As a rogue horse goes flying forward there. You guys can really see the battle unfolding. Yeah, that Serpent Rider unit needs to be very careful because it is taking a lot of missile fire across. Now you can see kind of the benefit of our position right there. We've got so many missiles here focusing on the Heaven's Guard. But it does take a little while to kill them. Realistically, I probably should have brought this unit of cavalry, these archers around a bit quicker than I do. I think I'm using them to maybe try and do something about this. But yeah, realistically, I probably should have brought the archers around and just really hammered away here. I wish I had a supply point up on this hill as well, because having archers shooting down into this as well would just decimate them. You can see this really effective crossfire though. Unfortunately though, we just don't have enough of these axe bearers here to hold the line long enough for this to be as effective, because sooner rather than later, this unit is going to be able to push forward and throw me back. But however, I have managed to rack up 293 kills on this Uruk Archer unit. So, super proud of that. And wherever else we are engaging on this line, I've got some of the Mordor Legion stuck in now. So, they're doing an okay job against the infantry from Dalmroth. Obviously, the Heaven Guard is going to be a hard unit to fight. Just with Uruk Throng, but a unit that we have to throw up nonetheless. Just to try and stem the bleeding as the enemy push further and further forward. And the artillery is coming in as well, obviously trying to focus down the Morgul Legioners. That is the unit that's really holding the enemy at bay. Now I do finally bring up my archers, but it is kind of a tad too late. If these archers were here firing into this unit a lot earlier on, and this cavalry is just able to really come into the back of our front lines, and that is very, very bad for us, like really bad. Able to go into the back of a lot of our shock infantry who can't really have the staying power as sword and board. So, yeah, that's going to definitely rack up the casualties and basically just allow the Gondorian infantry, supported by Dalmroth, the ability just to break through this at some point. Luckily, our archers are able to volley off onto the enemy cavalry, and we do manage to catch one of the units of Knights of the Silver Swan right here, bringing them down pretty effectively, and, yeah, cutting the head off the snake very effectively. However, the enemy still have their archers ready to be brought in, and that's not looking too good. However, we are able to really start racking up some kills here, and I feel like my units are doing a pretty good job. Our archers are definitely able to do a lot right there. As you can see, so many casualties being picked off on a unit of Heaven Guard. Super expensive, so able to really, really bring them down. And there you go, another unit is breaking. Freeing up our unit of Uruk Spears, however, very, very quickly as the artillery comes in. Actually gets a beautiful hit off there on the Servants of the Eye. The Heaven Guard are now moving in, and again, my Uruk Spears stand no chance. They actually managed to rack up 105 kills, which is really impressive considering the unit that was holding right here did absolutely nothing in the battle. However, with the constant archer fire coming in, it's only a matter of time until we are broken and battered, being forced back inch by inch. The defenders bravely putting a stand right here against the Elven lines. But as you can see, the city of Umbar unable to stay intact as the attackers really burn and pillage as they go. More cavalry being committed in wherever it can. And even over here as well, you can see the Dalmroth infantry getting around the side. Committing, a lot of strength. Oh, we got a Pullo right there off in the distance, going deep into the enemy lines. Probably not going to survive for much longer, and as I say that, he gets smoted by the Gondorians. My general came up trying again to cause some issues, and my Uruk Archers here with 323 kills are on the run. The enemy cavalry is chasing them down. The Knights of Imladris are going to have their just dessert and punish these Uruk Archers. I'm rushing to the wall right now as fast as I can. And luckily that was a very, very poor charge by the Knights. I think maybe because it was uphill, it was really ineffective. But I'm basically just going to spam click and try and get these archers up on the wall, because they have a lot of ammunition still left remaining. So if I can still utilize that, that'd be great. However, there is some shock infantry. Got some Heaven Guard on its way as well to finish me off, so that is very unfortunate. And my line is running very, very thin. Momentarily, we are going to give the order to try and fall back, because as you can see, we don't really have much infantry left. I have a couple Uruk swords over on this side. I've racked up a handful of kills, something too special. But again, they are fighting quality, right? You don't really expect the Uruk kills to have hundreds of kills because they are more numerous than anything else. Yeah, it's 200 men in a unit of Uruk swords, so you kind of expect them just to kind of hold the enemy in place, rack up a decent amount of kills, but just mainly their main goal is to hold the line with sheer numbers. And they definitely did do that on this right-hand side, slowing up the enemy. I definitely think the Uruks are great in a defensive siege, where you need just to plug holes with infantry, with bodies. And as soon as like Mordor start getting trolls, they start getting like Ologhai, and they get the cave trolls, you know, maybe a couple variants of trolls. They'll have them to really come in and do the damage, which I think will be super effective, like just ultra shock infantry. But until they get them, they're definitely going to be lacking that, I think, that killing power in a defensive siege, because again, a lot of their killing power does come from their orc pillagers and their cavalry. Their Servants of the Eye are just an absolutely amazing unit. But as you can see, the outer defenses are now crumbling. We've got some cavalry, a beautiful cavalry charge coming in with the Bane of the Steppe. Luckily going in on their elves, trying to rack up as many kills as possible. But as you can see, we are completely overrun here. My general is having to move up and volleying in some arrow volleys onto the enemy general. My Uruks up on the wall are also being punished by the Heaven Guard, getting their just revenge for their fallen comrades. But over on this side, you can see I have one lone cavalryman just running amok back there. But yeah, the enemy are pushing in pretty hard on fast, and there's not really much we can do. I'm going to throw my own general in right now. But there is also added archer fire coming in as well. Obviously mainly focusing down my general. Trying to take him out, cut the head off the snake. As more and more of these knights has continued to put pressure on me, chase me into the abyss, and yeah, the archer fire going to try and scare off. But we are in full-on retreat now. Right now, there's not really much more we can do. I think momentarily I'm going to try and retreat back a unit of swords here and just try and get them out, because there's not really much we can do, especially with the cavalry charges seizing the advantage. And then again, Knights of Diamond going into the back of any unit is scary, let alone a shock infantry. So right now, things are looking very dire for us. I did manage to actually catch this unit of cavalry here, and I'm going to be killing a unit of my Morgul Legion into the battle as well. Just trying my best to pin them down and try and scare off the cavalry, because obviously my goal right now is just to retreat back to the inner layer of the settlement. So, you know, my goal is just to kind of scare off this cavalry. I don't really want to fight it, so just by throwing my Morgul Legion forward, they'll hopefully do a good job. They're also tired as well. They must have got exhausted by... I must have had their pikes down or something, because they're actually exhausted right now. Which is a yeah, a bit of a misplay on my part. And just like that, I was able to scare off a decent amount of the cavalry. Get a few kills as well as they do pull out of that. And then obviously I will be looking to, yeah, bring this cavalry back inside and basically just escape with my life, because the outer settlement is completely lost. We have some defenders left inside the settlement, but not many whatsoever. Unfortunately as well, my archers are stuck on this little route right here. There's no way for me to get them down, so they're just here, ready to be mass routed. Also, somehow as well, these Uruk archers here, back from routing. They are completely out of ammunition, but they are back, so maybe they could do something. And again, up to 350 kills, happy with that. You don't really see the enemy are pushing up the hill itself, trying to put a lot of pressure on us. We did manage to kill an enemy general, though, which might come back to help us right here. But yeah, my infantry are trying to retreat back, just stand no chance whatsoever. So what I'll do is I'll skip ahead now just a couple minutes, because I'll give the enemy time to push in and set up their formation ready for the final assault. The final assault is underway. Infantry have been brought up the ramp, and we are quickly having to rush more men over as the elves break through the measly defense that we had here. We had like some artillery crew and a few infantrymen, archers moving in. There are infantry moving across up this step here to the final defense set up here by some of the serpent swordsmen. Not really a great defense. And over on the right hand side, the elves are breaking through. A measly unit of archers still left remaining. And you can already see the elves taking off the head clean with that great two-handed sword. But morale does drop down. The enemy are coming in. Luckily, my Morgul Legion are rushing over, but are they going to make it in time? Some cavalry moving up. We also have some shock infantry here as well, slowly making their way over. Only having to give a unit of archers on this other side. Also, my cavalry here, going to push my cavalry and just try to hide it in here so the AI doesn't, sorry, the enemy players don't see it, and then maybe try and get a nice little kind of kill charge off on the enemy right towards the end of the battle. Not that it's going to really matter too much, as more of the enemy do come in, pulling through the infantry, which is a little bit cheesy at this point in the battle. I understand if you frontally charge a unit and you knocked it down and then you pull through. This is questionable. Again, I'm not opposed to doing this. It is what it is. But yeah, it is what it is. It's not like, it's not bad. It's questionable. Is all I'll say. Cavalry moving through now, just able to run into the back of our Uruk archers. Morgul Legion coming in, but at this point, the enemy have fully broken through, and yeah, things are not looking good. We do actually have a very nice charge off on this side, though, getting the Axemen fully committed in against the Gondorian swords, able to break down a handful of them on that charge. Very effective, actually. That's obviously one of the benefits of these very heavy shock infantry, is that like initial charge, especially on a wounded unit like that as well. But unfortunately, the enemy are going to be able to just kind of come around here and yeah, envelop slowly. My Morgul Legion are fighting bravely, but they're not in a great position whatsoever. And unfortunately, it's looking very, very dire for the city of Umbar. We do get some Serpent Raiders, though, onto the Knights of Imladris, which is pretty good. And the Archers are still racking up some good kills. Again, a pretty questionable pull-through right here, as more infantry do come forward. But they did have so much infantry that I guess it doesn't really matter at this point. There's still so much pouring into the city that we don't really stand a chance whatsoever. But I do actually have this cavalry engagement right here now moving. So this unit of cavalry has 38 men left and 41 kills so far. Let's see how many kills it can get as it comes down the hill. So it's a downward charge against moving infantry. Absolutely tears them apart. And then I'm just going to keep on going, obviously. And then just push onto the archers and try and bring them down. I guess I'm kind of pulling through a little bit, but I kind of feel like when you do knock down infantry, that's absolutely fine. The cavalry able to move in and, yeah, really get stuck in on the servants, onto the Dunedain archers, and rack up a decent amount of kills, up to 102 kills. So getting 60 kills off that charge is very nice. But yeah, as you can see, enemy cavalry now inside the settlement. The day is over. We have been, yeah, we have definitely lost this battle for sure. We're going to try our best to kind of rack up as many kills as possible. And I also still have these 2 units of Uruk archers over on this wall just stuck. We're going to be there till the ends of the day and the end of the earth, basically. No way to get them down. I wonder if they after the city had fallen, if the forces of good did actually just go ahead and ring up the fire brigade to get the cat down from the tree. Put up the ladder on the wall and be like, come on, Uruk, you can come down, come on. And there you go, our generals are starting to fall now. The Morgul Legion holding bravely to the last, but hardly any of them left now. My generals are getting brought down by some of the Fisherman Levy skirmishers, which I actually personally really like. It's a great kind of like very cheap unit to be able to bring in, which can do a lot of damage to the settlement. But yeah, we just have nothing left now. Cavalry are just coming in, hammer and anviling, and that is basically going to be the battle right there. So once again, massive shout out to all the players. Definitely go check out Pope John Paul's channel down below in the description. Again, he obviously will have his own point of view from this battle, and I highly recommend checking out his stuff. So basically, the rest of the battle is going to be just kind of our last couple units of archers being run down, and then they have to take the capture point because my Uruk archers refuse to rout. So what I'll do is I'll skip to the end of the battle because there's nothing left to watch, and then we'll take a look at the kills right at the end. And there we go. The units finally do, well, we finally do capture the city centre, and that ends the battle, thankfully. If we take a look at the kills again, look at that Dormroth cavalry just doing so much damage. 400 kills in that one. And Boris's infantry, Heaven Guard didn't actually do that much, but again, they're full HP, so weren't able to really get stuck in. The Elves doing some serious work there, and again, the Gondorian Knights of the Silver Swan doing a very impressive job. And even that Trebuchet doing very good, 112 kills, not bad whatsoever. Take a look at the Eastlings. Again, our archers are going to be our real MVPs, and also the Warlords of Rune. Myself, that fabled Uruk Archer, 350 kills. I love it. And also my cavalry doing great as well. Can't complain there. And then finally on the Haradrim side, probably the MVP is going to be the Axeman for sure. 112 kills on, or 20 kills on them. And then also almost 100 kills on these guys. But even some Southern Archers with 100 kills, not bad whatsoever. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this battle. If you did, make sure to drop a like and a comment. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that bell notification and let me know what type of Rise of Mordor battle you'd like to see in the next one. And I'll see you guys in that next one.